Welcome to the So Damn Insane Show. Today, Jerry sits down with his longtime friend, Kitty O'Neill, famous broadcaster and performer. Jerry tells Kitty stories from the 50th anniversary of the Academy Awards and the infamous Bat Mitzvah Palooza featuring 50 Cent and the Eagles. And now the man whose life has been so damn insane, Jerry Haliva!
Kitty, I cannot thank you enough for doing this. I, I've been a fan of yours forever. I think I first met you when I sat behind you and your parents at Broadway shows.
Oh my gosh,
many
yeah.
years ago.
That was a long time ago.
But I know that the biggest challenge in your life now is time management, because you not only have to do it for 3 hours a day on your radio show, which is critical time management, because I think they don't like dead air on the radio, but just in general, you are in such demand as a MC at charity events, as a performer with Kurt in the band. Your time is so valuable, and that's why I'm so grateful that you're actually making time to do this for me.
Well, I try to make time for the important things.
Thank you.
So.
Well, okay, I didn't think your judgment was that great, but but definitely I appreciate it. And I'm curious, this segment is going to be a lot about why I have been so starstruck and consumed with celebrity most of my life. But I'm curious, when you were starting out, was celebrity important to you? Did you follow people who were famous and have celebrity status?
Well, I think I did. I always, when I was growing up, it was musicians because we love music, right? But then when I got into the media and had the opportunity to go to the Academy Awards, well then, that was pretty exciting. And I have to say, now I've been doing this, it'll be my 35th year, I think, if I go this year, which
You
I think
started when you were 5. That's amazing.
You're so sweet. But I was so starstruck, especially my first time, because that was an era where, that many years ago, there weren't all these organizations, media organizations like there are now.
Right.
So I got front and center. I was right up. Every big star was like right here. It was Julia Roberts' first year, right?
Wow.
And she was there for Steel Magnolias. And then there was, Michelle Pfeiffer and I don't know, Tom Hanks. All the people that were, Barbara Streisand, all these people that were like this close to me.
Right.
And I was like, what do I say? What do I say? So that was probably the most exciting and the most nerve-wracking. But as the years go by, you kind of realize,
They're real
okay,
people.
these are just people. And,
Exactly.
it doesn't hold the same excitement as it did those first years. But
I don't know why, but all this engagement I've had with celebrities, I'm still starstruck. Even though I know they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like I do. And a lot of them, as you get to know more about them, you really wouldn't want to spend that much time with them personally, but I just always have had that fascination.
I understand that, Jerry, because for someone to be a celebrity at that level, they have to have an unusual combination of things. They have to have a lot of talent. They have to have a lot of persistence. Yeah. They have to have a lot of creative juices and innovative input. And there's a lot to becoming a celebrity. They might have shortcomings in other areas that are probably important to be a well-rounded human being, but they have a lot of certain qualities that are admirable. So I can see that. And you, I know, have had some incredible brushes with celebrities. It's just amazing. So I want to hear more about that.
I appreciate that. The one story I want to lead off with is something you have done now, I don't know, 25 or 30 times, which is the Academy Awards.
It will be 35 this year.
Oh, my goodness. Well, So you're very familiar with it, and I brought a memento, which is the golden anniversary program of the 1970 8, we were doing, well, it goes back to my job. And a lot of this is because being in politics, I had opportunities or challenges that became opportunities. But,
Sure.
but my boss was the minority leader of the California State Senate. Senator Campbell, as one of 4 leaders, was invited by the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences to be a guest, a VIP guest at the Academy Awards. I don't think they do that anymore, but they did it back then.
Okay.
And my boss, who was one of the most generous and authentic people I've ever known in my life, he said, you know, Jerry, you are just like my wife. You're both starstruck. You just love celebrity.
Yeah.
I don't care. Why don't you go and take my wife? And I couldn't
my wife,
believe
please.
I couldn't believe he's giving up the Academy Award.
Wow.
But he did. And the first thing I did, Kitty, was I had to call somebody who I thought might be a good guide. And my former boss, Mr. Carabian, he was married to an actress named Carol Wells. She was not very well known, but she worked with Barbara Streisand, actually, in the sequel to Funny Girl, Funny
Okay.
Lady. So
Funny
she was
Lady.
in that. So I called her and I said, so I get to go to the Academy Awards. What's your advice? And she gave me some very good advice. She said, Jerry, it's about attitude. Go like you belong there. Do not act like you're gawking at everybody,
Right.
which you want to, but act like you belong.
Yeah.
The piece of advice she did not give me because she assumed I knew, and the advice I needed, it's a black tie event.
Oh, yes. One of the
Yes.
most formal events there
Yes.
is out there, yeah.
So neither Marjane Campbell, my boss's wife, nor I chose to pay any attention to that standard.
Oops.
And the 50th anniversary of the Academy Awards was also the big year for Saturday Night Fever and Travolta.
Okay.
And so I decided that that would be the most appropriate attire. And so
Oh,
this is how I dressed and how
my
she
goodness.
dressed for the Academy Awards. And I don't know if the camera will pick it up or not, but I'm dressed like a clown. I'm really so out of place that it's amazing. But the way
at
it worked
least,
for me
yes,
is,
you were in the spirit of things.
well, not just the spirit thing, but I had to be somebody significant to dress like that for the Academy Awards.
Right, because the big shots don't have to try that hard.
Exactly. And like I said, unfortunately, not only am I dressed like it's Saturday Night Fever, but she, a
Yeah,
wonderful
she was-
woman,
felt probably.
she dressed like she fell off the back of an Idaho potato truck. And so we stood out like a sore thumb. And one other quick photo is the host, who was a prominent attorney. He was the chair of the Democratic National Committee.
Okay.
And he was the lobbyist for the Academy. Charles Manat, Chuck Manat. I don't know if you ever heard that name.
I don't think
But here we are at the VIP reception.
Oh, boy.
And you'd think in this conversation that we're having, I'll give this to you.
Yes,
In
I'll
this
be your Vanna,
conversation
yeah.
we're having, he might say, Jerry, did anybody tell you this is a black tie event? But he didn't. He actually just, nobody ever said anything. And so that's the way I went
Oh my
to
gosh.
the Academy Awards.
Look at you.
Now-
and
now-
that's a kind of a satiny shirt. I'm surprised it wasn't unbuttoned way down there. Did you do
they
that
didn't
later
want,
in
they
the
didn't want
night?
to see that much. And my gold chain is totally fake.
Just to make
Like my appearance at the Academy Awards, totally fake. But what I was going to
Oh, I
share
love
is
it.
that so we're there, and because we're VIPs, we're escorted along the red carpet into the awards. And people, if you remember, are in bleachers,
Yes.
and they get to wave or whatever.
Yes, get
And
excited.
I heard more than once, "You in the white hat, hello," because again, I stood out like a sore thumb.
But almost in a good way. Now that I see the picture, I mean, it wasn't what you would have chosen, but
No.
since it was the Saturday Night Live era, at least you kind of had the vibe.
I kind of thought
And
it was
did
a
you-
costume party. I didn't realize.
Your date, I feel for her because that's kind of a plaid
Oh,
skirt,
Marjane,
and that
I
she,
felt-
I'm sure
anyway,
she was regretting that. But
So as we're going to our feet.
Yes.
And this is going to be the part that you're going to be able to relate to, because as we're going to our feet, we're sitting in front of a longtime character actor from the daytime soaps as well as everything, Jack Wagner. I don't know if you remember Jack Wagner.
I think if I saw him.
But as we're coming to our feet, he starts snapping his fingers like, I know
To
you.
you?
To me. And that is the moment of truth, because he's kind of looking for a connection.
He's buying into this.
And I
Yeah.
then immediately turn and introduce Margene Campbell to my friend Jack Wagner, who I've never met before in my life. And Wagner says, typical Hollywood, like politics, total BS. Wagner said, at first I didn't recognize you. And I said, seriously? And then I said, was that the best party ever? He said, the best, absolutely the best. And I have died and gone to bullshit heaven.
Oh,
I am
my
now
gosh.
convinced that nobody is going to call me out for the nobody that I am.
Yeah.
So we go through the Academy Award. That one was very famous because that's when Vanessa Redgrave decided to
Go political.
attack Zionism, and so that was the significance of that particular award ceremony. Matter of fact, Patty Chayefsky, the great screenwriter,
Yes, writer,
he after she did her number, he comes up and he actually says, and here's a suggestion to Miss Redgrave. Congratulations on your award. But when you win an award, it's not a platform. A simple thank you would be fine.
Oh, my.
So
well, little did he know what would come after that.
exactly, with Marlon Brando's girlfriend.
So much. Yeah.
But anyway, so now we are at the intermission. Had my boss been there, he would have called it halftime. But we go out, and now I realize, because I'm getting looks, of course, that the only thing I should do is pretend I know people.
Yes.
And I proceed to introduce Margene to everybody I recognize, even though I don't know them. Oh, Chuck, Margene Campbell, Charlton Heston, Hank, Margene Campbell, Henry Mancini. I am going down the list. Jason Robards. Everybody I see, I'm so confident that they're not going to go, I don't know you.
Right, of course not.
And Margene is mortified. She is convinced that the next one is going to say, well, who the hell are you and why are you dressed this way?
Right.
So we get back to our feet, and she literally has tears in her eyes. And she said, Jerry, you have to stop. Please, you have to stop. And I said, I'm sorry. And this is my boss's wife that got me in the place. I have to comply.
Yeah.
The ceremonies are over. We go to the limo holding area where all the people get,
hundreds of them. Yeah.
And I'm seeing everybody that's important or I recognize, and I'm biting my tongue. There's blood in my mouth because I want to admit.
So want to make that
it.
fake connection.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm behaving myself. I'm accommodating my boss's wife and her wishes.
Yeah.
And then this woman from across the room looks at me and she mouths, I love your hat.
It's not the hat, is it? Is this the hat?
No, that's not the same hat, though. Similar.
Similar, yeah.
But so when she reached out to me with that, I'm sorry, I'm back in business. So I open my arms like this, and she comes over and gives me the two-cheek kiss.
Yes.
And I said, Margene, meet my friend Cloris Leachman. And Cloris could not have been nicer. And so I'm back in business. So now I started introducing her again. And Margene here's, there were like 5 or 6 more.
Yeah.
In the limo, she's crying again.
Oh, no.
And she said, Jerry, you promised. And so I felt guilty, exhilarated, but guilty.
Right.
And now we go to the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion for the dinner after. Mm-hmm. I'm in line. I see 12, 14 people I know, but I am not. I'm done.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
You're going to be good.
I'm not going to risk my job.
Okay. Yeah, right. By making her so unhappy.
Exactly. So we're standing in line, and somebody yells out, Jerry? Jerry, what are you doing here? And over to us comes Red Buttons, because Red Buttons had come to Sacramento to lobby for, back in the day, Laetrile. It was a cancer treatment.
Oh my gosh.
And his wife had been treated in Germany, and so we worked with him on legislation.
Yeah.
So he knew me from the Capitol.
Okay.
But more importantly, because he called out to me, everybody else now says, this is the real deal. We don't know who he is, but because Red Button called out to me.
Totally. Yes.
So the next day I called the actress. I asked for advice. She said, Jerry, you're the talk of the town. People don't know if you're a third world dictator, a major drug dealer, what your deal is, but you're being talked about.
Right? Oh my gosh. Who was that mysterious man in the white suit and hat?
So that was my only introduction, and believe me, I'm sure I'm on some list to never be invited to the Academy Awards again.
But I love how you embraced it. Some people would just kind of wither away and go, I do not belong here, I'm not dressed right, but no, you took it in stride, you made the most of it.
Well, that's why Willie Brown, when he did an interview in the LA Times, said, I have more chutzpah than God. And I do tend to... If I see an opportunity, to seize the opportunity.
Well, you did. 100%, my friend. You went for it. I love that.
Well, and like I said, your experience at the Academy Awards makes it more real because you know that environment.
Oh, I know that scene.
And, right.
Yeah.
And so my confidence that nobody was going to say, I don't know you, coming from a world of politics where, again, you walk up to a senator or a vice president, they're not going to say, I don't know you. They're going to say, oh, sure, how are you? Of course, yes. So that
would be too embarrassing if they didn't.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. So anyway, so that's my fun Academy Award
That's
story.
a pretty crazy one, I'll tell you. But it all worked in your favor.
It did.
Right?
It did.
Yeah.
I want to transition to something that I know has been a passion for you, I think your whole life, which is music. Mm-hmm. And a passion you share with your husband, Kurt.
Yes.
And I think you and Kurt Spataro have been married like 30 years?
36.
36 years. Mm-hmm. And both incredibly talented in your own ways, both musically talented, but also Kurt Spataro's history and legendary status as a chef and a restaurateur.
He loves the culinary arts.
Yes,
absolutely.
He does.
Yeah.
But in terms of your passion for music, mm-hmm. Did that come early in your teenage years? I know you were doing other things young, but at what point did music really become the driving force?
Well, I've always loved it. I feel like most people do love it when they're young. You know, there's something about how music defines you when you're trying to figure out who you are growing up, right? You relate to certain kinds of music. So I feel like maybe in that respect, I was typical, but Jerry, I've just always loved music. When I go into a store, like the first thing I hear is, what are they playing? Like I think, I hear it and I perk up, and I think a lot of people are walking around, they don't even know there's music on, but there's just something about music that I just relate to. Yeah.
And it shows when you perform. I've been fortunate enough to see you and your band perform a number of times.
Oh, you're so kind.
And but you see that passion in your musical talent. I know you and Kurt have been performing together for years.
Yeah, we have.
But the band, I believe, has been evolutionary. There's a starting point that I'd love to hear about.
Oh, gosh. Well, it was back in the 80s, and we had a band called Secret Service. And at that time, music at that time was amazing because in Sacramento, there were so many clubs that all the kids went to, and they had music almost every night of the week. And so we played 5 nights a week, every week at a different club. Yeah, for years. I mean, there was Oasis Ballroom and C Street North and Bitter Creek Saloon, and I'm forgetting them all, but that's what we would do. And so we played mostly cover tunes because that's what everyone wanted to hear, right? And we did different things. The band broke up, we got real jobs, things like that. We always would play together somehow, maybe acoustically, just at events and things like that. And 10 years ago, we thought, we're not getting any younger here. We ought to play. So we decided we would write music. And so that's what we did with our Skylar's Pool band. And we do covers also because that's, a lot of people like to hear that. But we have recordings out. We're on Apple Music and Amazon and Spotify.
Under Skylar Music?
Yeah,
okay.
Skylar's Pool. Yeah, you can find it there. A lot of our music. So that's kind of what we did. And it's been 10 years. I don't know what we'll do after this. Maybe keep going, maybe not. I don't know.
Where did the band name come from?
It came from Breaking Bad. Did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
I loved Breaking Bad.
Yes. Remember his wife, Skylar?
Yeah.
And she had the pool, and all that stuff happened in the pool. The pool was like a character.
Yes.
And
how perfect.
It's kind of timestamps when we started the band. When
Right.
that started. But yes, that Skylar's Pool came from Breaking Bad.
Very good.
Yeah.
By the way, the lead in that is one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yeah. Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston, whatever he's in, I'm a fan of.
Such a great actor.
But that show, and that's something that Michael and I have talked about, I always wonder why the writers don't get the level of credit that they should, because I don't know who wrote Breaking Bad, but whoever wrote it was a genius.
Fabulous, yes.
And do you know who wrote it?
Well, don't they do the, what's the one or the other one that's got the character that was the attorney?
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. That's the sequel, right?
Yeah.
So,
same writer, right? I think.
It must be, but the fact that we don't know who it is.
Yeah, no, I should know. I think I do know, but it's not coming to mind.
And I think it's true that the fact that you're now writing your own music.
Yeah.
Again,
Vince Gill. Isn't it Vince Gill? No, sorry.
No. Not Vince Gill.
they're going to remember.
But Vince Gilligan? No, Bill Gilligan. Something like that.
Oh, okay.
Get your team on here.
No kidding.
Your research team.
But I think that the fact that you're now writing your own music, and I was a music nerd, but I do know that Paul Anka was more of a writer than he was a performer.
He
and
did
he
write a lot
wrote
of
his
music.
library of stuff he's written is really substantial. So there are a lot of great writers, lyricists, composers that we don't know who they are, and I don't know who they are because they're not celebrities in my world.
Right. Yeah, they're not the ones that get all the credit or
Exactly.
the FaceTime
Or any profile.
or yeah, you're
Vince
right.
Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan. Yeah, that's
Good
what I
for
thought.
you, Michael.
Yeah, it was coming to me. It took me a minute, but that's right.
Didn't he have his own island?
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale.
I have to tell you, I was a musical nerd in my young years.
Meaning?
Well, everybody's paying attention to either Elvis or the Beatles.
Okay.
I'm listening to the twin piano stylings of Ferrante and Teicher. Roger Williams and Autumn Leaves. I was a total nerd. And which accounts for most of my social life when I was young.
I'll call you an old soul.
So I had an opportunity to experience some of the top performers by being invited, believe it or not, to a bat mitzvah. Now, bat mitzvahs, some of them have gone over the top.
Yeah.
But a lot of bat mitzvahs in the more affluent areas did want to bring in a performer.
Okay.
I was consulting for a company out of Florida that made body armor. They have the #1 body armor to the military and police called Point Blank Body Armor.
Okay.
And I was doing some consulting for them. The owner of that company, who was fabulously rich, decided to do the bat mitzvah that became known as the Bat Mitzvah Palooza. It got all kinds of media attention because the media thought he spent $10 million on the bat mitzvah.
10 million?
10 million, but that wasn't true. It was actually only 8 million. But he reached out to all kinds of performers, and a lot of them said, no, I'm not performing at a bat mitzvah.
Right.
So he would up the price. And so the first performer that his daughter requested was, believe it or not, 50 Cent.
50 Cent?
The rapper and his
Wow.
hombres.
Right.
It was phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, that's
The location for this bat mitzvah.
Where was this?
At the Rainbow Room on top of Rockefeller Center.
Oh, well, okay.
2 floors. They had the fake paparazzi all outside.
Really?
Total guests were 300, 100 of the kids' friends, and 200 adults.
Wow, that's
we all received a box that probably cost $5,000 a box, and the box had a DVD or CD player, and Mary Hart proceeded to tell you you're invited to the bat mitzvah.
Wait, that was the invitation?
That's the invitation.
The invitation came in a box, delivered to...
And then engraved with the guest name, with
your
me
name.
and my wife's name.
Wow.
And then that kind of set the tone for what
I
we're going to
think
expect.
this is no ordinary bat mitzvah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
However, my wife and I actually did go to the bat mitzvah ceremony at the synagogue that morning, which happened at 8 o'clock.
Well, that's good. It's like going to the wedding and the reception, right?
Exactly.
You've got to be the good guest.
Well, I wanted to be there for that, to support the 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
But when we get to this event,
Yes.
it's clear how over the top it's going to be.
All right.
Because as we are having appetizers,
In the Rainbow Room.
in the Rainbow Room with the most amazing views,
views are...
as we're doing that, my wife says, "Jerry, I think that's Kenny G," and I said, "Yeah, you're right. It is Kenny G." She said, "No, that's Kenny G." He was playing right there,
they were playing,
right there, playing
it
his
wasn't
saxophone.
just the music.
It was right there.
Okay.
And so he played for appetizers for the adults. The kids were all in their separate performance with Ciara, and so they were in heaven with Ciara.
Another guest. Okay.
After that, we go in for the entertainment. The opening act is 50 Cent, which I found incredible because he was a little bit on the anti-Semitic side, and some of his rap lyrics were not conducive to a bat mitzvah at all.
Yeah, okay.
But then he did
But a
tailor it.
13-year-old girl picked it.
Correct.
Right.
So after that, the next act comes up,
Yeah.
and I can't believe right in front of us is Don Henley and Joe Walsh.
What?
The Eagles are right there performing for us, and then about 15 minutes in, they're joined by Stevie Nicks.
What?
Yes, Joe Walsh, Don Henley, and Stevie Nicks on the stage in front of 300 people. Like I said, the owner of the company and the host of the bat mitzvah was willing to pay whatever he could.
Well, clearly.
And for these people to do a bat mitzvah, you know they charged hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh,
I think
for
50 Cent. I think
sure.
50 Cent got 500,000. I don't know what Don Henley and Joe Walsh and Stevie charged, but that concludes, which is like.
But I have to ask,
Yeah.
whose songs were they doing? Were they doing each other's songs?
They were doing primarily the Eagles,
Like Eagles
the hits from the
material,
Eagles,
okay.
and then Stevie came on and did one of hers. And by the way, she was dressed exactly like she dressed it today, with the boots, with the
Right, big dress, flowy,
exactly.
the whole thing, yeah.
Anyway, but then they
worked
together they did Hotel California.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
it's just awesome. It was absolutely awesome.
Wow.
So now you think oh my God, how do you
how
top
do you
this?
top that? Yeah.
Well, you top it by going downstairs because we have desserts and those fancy shooters and stuff like that. Because it's more of a living room setting now.
Okay.
And
loungy.
it's about 11:30 at night. And right there is, in front of us, in a very casual setting, is Tom Petty.
No.
Yes, and Tom Petty proceeds to say, "This is some party. I understand everybody gets a 2-bedroom house on the way out." He was so
wow.
He was so.
And band? Tom Petty and band?
No,
Or
just Tom Petty. Just Tom Petty.
Wow.
And he was so casual and unassuming and engaging people in the audience, including, unfortunately, the 13-year-old girl who had no clue who he was.
Yeah, right.
But it was just phenomenal.
That's incredible.
So, again, we're now at 12:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
Or,
okay.
And everybody
Late
said,
night.
okay, time to go.
Yeah.
The host
No.
said, no,
No.
please stick around.
More?
They're running late, but they're going to be here.
Okay.
And an hour later, I don't know what we did for that
So like
hour.
at 1:30 in the morning?
1:30 in the morning.
Okay.
Who comes in and takes the stage?
Who?
Steve Tyler and Aerosmith.
Get out.
I'm kidding. It's
Seriously?
unbelievable.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and he is terrific because he brings the bat mitzvah girl on stage. And remember, she was up at 7 in the morning getting ready for a bat mitzvah. And, I mean, it's pretty much child abuse at that point. But he brought her in and engaged with her. And
Did she know it? She might have known Aerosmith.
she might have. She
Just
might
in
have
the
known.
general
but
knowledge of music.
I just couldn't believe how gracious he was.
That's
because
wonderful.
I really do believe 50 Cent regretted doing it. But I don't think Steve Tyler did. And I know he got paid a lot of money. So, anyway, it was just beyond belief. There's a postscript to the story, and that is that because the owner of this company was a defense contractor, he decided that the plane that the Department of Defense pays for would be an appropriate plane to go pick up Steve Tyler and Aerosmith from Philadelphia where they were performing.
Okay.
That led to a little bit of an inquiry. The postscript is that within a year of the event, the owner of the company went to prison.
Oh
And
my gosh.
because this was not his only transgression, but he clearly, and in all honesty, his name was David Brooks, and the bat mitzvah was really all about him instead of his daughter. He was dressed like a rock star himself, and so it was more of an ego celebration, but it was certainly a memorable occasion with those musical talents.
That I don't know who can beat that party. I mean, seriously. Who has a party like that with all those guests? All those.
I can't imagine it being replicated, and
I can't either. I know. I haven't heard of that.
And I'm just wondering if any media ever went back and asked Steve Tyler, why would you do this? I mean, the money, I mean, really?
Had to be.
But that's the answer. And apparently there was quite a list of performers that said, I don't care what you're paying me. I don't do bat mitzvahs.
Really?
So
those were the ones that said yes.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, those are some of the biggest names ever. That's incredible. And you were there.
Well,
did you take pictures? You couldn't. You didn't have
no.
phones back
Oh,
then.
actually,
They said
there,
no.
50 Cent apparently had this rule: there will be no cameras, no videos, and he had some of his gang actually swatting cameras down if the kids were trying to take video. So there is no video of the event, which is too bad, because it really was something special.
That is remarkable. Lucky you.
Well, and that's why the title of this podcast is So Damn Insane, because my life has been so damn insane.
Well, if that's an indication, bring it on, right? That's amazing. That is amazing.
Well, again, because of your talent as a musician and because of your love of music, that's a story I thought.
Oh, I love it. No, I'm just so, I just saw the Eagles at the Sphere.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
in
what
Vegas.
a venue.
Yeah, and Joe Walsh and Don Holman were there with the rest of them, but just that and their level of talent, incredible.
Absolutely.
So to have those two and then bring in Stevie Nicks,
Exactly.
you realize how incredible that was? You understand
I did.
what you got
Even
to
though I was
see?
a music nerd growing up, I got how
You do, okay.
how significant that event was.
Good.
I am wondering in retrospect if there is a video that the father took that had just never
The father in
come
prison.
public. Yeah, he actually
Is he out now?
He died in prison.
Oh.
A very young age. I think he was 52 or 54.
Oh, goodness.
But he was a very flawed human being. But his product was the best product in that category. But he just wasn't a very, very good person at all. So,
Unfortunate, but
Yes.
that was spectacular. At least the party that you got
exactly.
to go to.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
when I talk about this being so damn insane, my love of celebrity has actually had other opportunities because a lot of celebrities came to the Capitol for various reasons.
Right. We had Paris Hilton recently.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Shannon Grove working on a bill.
And
Senator
my
Grove.
boss carried a bill for the heirs of deceased celebrities. It was called the Celebrity Rights Act. It passed in 1985. And basically, the grandson of W.C. Fields, the son of John Wayne, and the nephew, I believe, of Groucho Marx, or Bill Marx, one of the Marx brothers, they came to us along with an attorney that was named Roger Richmond, who represented them, and said, when a celebrity dies, their image, likeness, and voice becomes public domain.
Okay.
So they were doing fake photos of like Clark Gable carrying a naked man up instead of Scarlett O'Hara. They had W.C. Fields snorting coke. They had all kinds of publicity that was not positive and that the heirs
Felt was inappropriate.
felt was an abuse.
Yeah.
So we created this right of celebrity that a celebrity can actually create as a property right and then give to their heirs, so that if something abusive happens, that there's litigation, that they actually have to register their celebrity heirs right, and then they can't.
Did it pass?
It passed. It became landmark legislation.
Wait, how does that work now with AI, I wonder?
There's a register that that the
Okay.
heirs get to file
Okay.
that shows that it's part of the inheritance of their celebrity
Okay.
father.
Wow.
You may recall there was a wine called Marilyn Merlot, and that winemaker ended up paying Roger Richmond and the heirs of Marilyn Monroe a fee to use that likeness.
Okay.
So that resulted in a whole bunch of celebrities coming to Sacramento. They would take over the big hearing
And you
room.
were so excited.
Oh, because because my boss was the author.
Yeah.
So I got to go bring our witnesses. I would go pick them up at the airport.
You volunteered.
Oh,
I'll do
in a
it.
heartbeat, yeah. And so I got to pick up somebody whose beauty I never understood until she was in the back of the limo with me, and that was Elizabeth Taylor. She came up to testify. She
Wow.
regretted. She didn't want to be there. Roger Richmond talked her into it.
Okay,
But those eyes.
Were they
those
violet?
eyes,
Were they really violet?
They were absolutely violet. I've never seen that color in a woman's eyes before, but it was entrancing. I got what the magic with Elizabeth Taylor was. Just like when I picked up Priscilla Presley, and her skin was so flawless, and it's unfortunate what happened to her later in life in terms of all the work that she had done, but her skin
She had
was
just
so
that
flawless.
delicate beauty.
Yes,
Right? Yeah.
very much so. And then Burt Lancaster, I
Oh,
picked him up. So all these people came to the Capitol, and I was their escort. So I was in heaven again.
Oh, of course you were.
And so that was my connection through that bill. And then other people came in, like Robin Williams, spent an hour with us in my boss's office. And Robin
memorable.
Williams, unfortunately, never had a real conversation with us. He was performing almost the entire time. Because,
Seriously?
Yes.
Like
I
he
mean,
just
he just couldn't.
couldn't
He
help
couldn't. He couldn't
himself.
turn it off. And I think that again became apparent later in his life that he couldn't turn off that thing that caused him to revert to a performance instead of a conversation.
Wow.
So, but I just found out. I didn't realize you were a call screener for Rush Limbaugh. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
That was early in my career. That was one of my very first jobs. That's what I did.
And that's when Rush knew he was an entertainer
Yes.
instead of becoming the leader of a political movement, which he never should have
Which
done.
was kind of accidental. I
Yes.
think that's the way the tide went. But no, he hadn't even registered to vote when I worked with him.
That's
No
hysterical.
lie, yeah.
That's
He was
hysterical.
not a political animal.
No.
But that's how it changed.
Evolved,
Anyway, yeah. But so I was working in radio. But the reason I got that job is because when I was in the band, our band was playing a gig for McClatchy.
Okay.
And McClatchy newspapers
Right.
owned KFBK at the time.
Oh, wow.
And I was negotiating the contract, and the guy I was talking to said, "Why are you just singing in a band? You seem like a sharp kid, And I'm like, "Oh, whatever, And I said, "I have a degree in communications." He said, "Go down and see if there's a job you might like." So I went down
Wow.
to McClatchy, went in that building, the old Sacramento Bee
which
building
is
that's
gone
gone
now.
now.
Yes, exactly.
I know. So I went down there and I said, "Oh, you have a radio station?" I didn't listen to talk radio, but I'm like, "What is that?" And so so I applied that and got it, and that's how I got in on the ground floor 40 years ago.
Wow. But you rock. I mean that. We have a mutual friend, John McGinnis, and I know how much work goes into his basically 40-minute show
With
you take out all
commercials,
the commercials and everything. You do 3 hours, Katie.
Yeah, every
and
day.
and I've learned you're doing a lot of it yourself. You manage the board.
Well,
I heart not McClatchy.
I don't do the whole board. I do a little bit, but
Okay.
but I do a lot of the producing and editing and all that
Exactly.
stuff.
And I'm going to just finish with one last story, and that is that one of the things my boss did was he had a business conference in Orange County, where his district was, and the segment of the business conference that was the most popular was women in business.
Okay.
And so we came up with the idea that we should break that off and just have a women's conference. And several politicians afterwards, Duke Majan and others, copied that. But ours was so successful, we had to do 2 separate lunches of 3,500 women in each lunch.
Goodness.
And we had the widow of Anwar Sadat, we had Elizabeth Dole, we had so many of the Sally Ride, we had so many people that people wanted to hear from. But at that time, and we're talking again in the early 80s, at that time, there were people who weren't big yet, but were going to become very big.
Yeah.
And that photo is somewhere here.
I can't wait to hear who
Okay, there it is.
in those conferences.
I went out
one
to
of the biggest
airport.
ever.
I went out to the airport to pick up Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah.
And
Wow.
it's significant, Kitty, because she was very humble, very unassuming, and her agency, which is how we got her, she charged $25,000. You can't talk to her for $25,000.
All right, I know.
But her agency required the $25,000, first class air travel, limo, and 10 armed guards, like the Rent-A-Cops.
10 armed
10
guards.
armed guards. So when I bring her to the Anaheim Hilton and Towers, she sees these. She says, "What's this for?" And I said that your agency requires it. She says, "I'm a little poor girl from Georgia." And she brings out a brownie camera to take a picture so she could send it to her mother. That was
Wow.
Oprah Winfrey in the very early years.
Very
and
early years.
I was
There,
again
look
very,
at you.
very blessed to be part of that.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
so driving Miss Daisy, I guess you could call it. But
You have, yeah. So you acted like the chauffeur? Or
yeah.
What
Well,
did you, how did
no,
you
more the
introduce
escort
yourself?
because it was a
Oh, the
limo,
escort,
so
okay.
I'd be
Oh,
in
you
the
were-
back.
got it.
And that actually being able to engage with them. That's how I knew Elizabeth Taylor didn't want to be there because we hardly talked at all.
She was a little
and
reserved, I guess.
But Oprah was so nice and so generous.
Gosh, you
So-
have had some incredible brushes with the celebrities that obviously you admire and have so much fun meeting. And
Well, that's
Gosh,
and that's the kind of the theme of this podcast, and something why I'm so grateful that a professional like you, who's had experiences because you're a professional, why I'm so grateful that you would take time to be part of this. It's been an insane life, and I've been lucky enough to live it.
And it has been a big life and very fun-filled life, full of unexpected surprises and obviously memories that you carry with you today and are able to share with us. So, so much fun, kind of vicariously living through what you've had to experience.
I will just say in conclusion that my son Michael and I, who's the producer of this podcast, talked many years ago about writing a memoir because I've had this life.
Yeah.
I never had the discipline to actually do that because it requires a lot of discipline to write a book.
Yes, it does.
And I've never been disciplined. But he said to me not too long ago, Dad, you love to talk. Matter of fact, you rarely shut up. But why don't you do a podcast? And so the next episode of this podcast is going to be the evolution of the whole Saddam Hussein what do you call it? Doppelganger. The fact that likeness and how that led me into a couple of movies. And so that's going to be our next episode as a tease for our viewers.
Well, I've thought about that. I mean, your love of celebrity and films and all that. And then you got to be in one, and people recognize you from that. That's going to be great. That's your next one.
That's my next one.
Oh, wonderful.
You'll be seeing that coming up soon. It'll be hard to top Time with You, though, Kitty.
Oh, well,
Thank you.
Your stories are amazing, Jerry. Thank you so much.
You.
Yeah.